Let's see, we're visiting today with Ida Rose, who used to be Ida Escholt, longtime resident of Deering. And today is July 19th, 1986. And we're here in North Bend, Washington. Let's see, Ida, uh, could you tell me a little, give me kind of a history about the Escholt mining activities that, your where all he lived and moved kind of in a chronological order, sort of.
Well, do you have Fairhaven and who owned Fairhaven before?
Well, no, but
Consta de Pegas?
No, I was just kind of interested in your family first about.
Oh, our family.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, from the roadhouse, they were always prospecting, and then because when I was born and Papa was on Arizona, and he dug holes and quite colorful, so he knew that there was gold coming through there somewhere. So then he up on that side and nozzled all the dirt out because there's so much overhead, and got that all out, and sluice boxes, and then, well, I'd go up there and help her or visit, so much of the time I wasn't. There was a child in between us, and I was that close to my older sister so many times, and so I'd help her, and then I'd go back down and help Mama down there. If it was summer, well, then it was always berry time and fish time. We had all that fish to put up,
You mean down at the roadhouse?
Roadhouse, because you had traps there in the river, and they had all that to do. But the teams were going back and forth every day, and then we had to send fish up there for that camp too, because meat wasn't plentiful. It wasn't shipped in like it is now, and, well, when they butchered reindeer, they wouldn't butcher only twice a year probably. And then the rest of the time, why, it was just seafood, what they could get. So there's quite a lot of fish to send up all the time, and of course a lot of other dried food. But then on the mine.
What year did he start that? What year did he start that mine?
In a little diary that he had in there, 1911.
That's when he started up on Arizona.
Well, he was on Arizona when I was born first, and then he had this little house in Deering too for winter mostly, And then, but when he built that house right there in where the mine is, I just don't know, but I do remember when some of his articles that he had was 1911. So it was from in that area when he mined it. First it was producing real good after they had the overburden off, and we used to go up as we'd go up there, and then when they got it going, then they closed up the roadhouse then. And then Mama moved up there, the rest of us, and lived up there then, because then he put an addition to that little sod house, another addition this way and then across this way. But in the summer we always had a little tent outside where we loved to stay outdoors so much of the time. Then the reindeer herd, when they were down the roadhouse, kept them across the river, and then when we had the herd, it was up over the lava, because it's kind of narrow through there, so they come down the lava and go across, and it's flatter on that other side, and feed over there. But the deer were always close enough so that we always had meat, because she could have them butcher any time. And I think that made it easy for the roadhouse, because we always had meat.
Did your dad build the roadhouse, or?
Yeah,
Do you have any idea about what year that was and when what years
Well,
they ran it in between?
Now that mixes me up, because when we were up the Kobuk, when Emma was born, but he didn't have the roadhouse then. But it must have been soon after, because
After you went back to Deering, huh?
Yeah, because he found that there's no way that we can live way up there on the Kobuk. And so we moved out of there in the dog sled in the fall, and had to, forgotten places, we had to camp someplace. We slept on the floor, I can remember that, and they fed us. And then I can't remember how long it took us to get back to Deering, but we got there anyway. And then he, well, by that time there was a lot of freight going up the river. So I don't know if Frank Knapp was there and others, and they said, well, they needed place up there to rest the horses and have lunch. Lunch didn't matter too much, but the horses had to rest and drink, and so that was 10 miles up and make a good place. So Papa got busy on that, and of course back of the roadhouse, all up and through there, was a lot of sod. I can just remember doing that, because all that sod, he'd cut it and then turn it over and we'd scrape it off. The dirt, scrape that off, and let it dry enough so that he could take it down there and build. So it didn't take too long to build that. And then afterwards, then he built a barn next to it for the horses, because they started freighting in winter too. Frank Knapp and Jake Johnson was the other teamster. And so they put their horses in the barn we always had to thaw water where they'd water them and feed them, let them rest an hour, and then Mom would have dinner ready for them, and they'd go on. See, that was halfway place, because they'd go up as far as Fairhaven. Frank Knapp wasn't hauling freight for Fairhaven. He was hauling for another outfit close by there. I can't remember who. But they were busy hauling, so yeah, he had that roadhouse. Well, then with all the salmon, well, there was a lot of grayling in the river, and so it was easier to get all that fish then for meals. And then Papa built that little bit of dam across, then had a fish trap and caught a lot of fish, and so we had to take care of that. And then for us, then it was the berry time, because there's no fruit, get all that. So yeah, but you see, from the roadhouse, then after he got the mine going, then he moved Mama, and then moved all of us up there then to the mine. And then
Did you use the roadhouse after that? Did you use the roadhouse after that?
No.
Well, what year was that
then? You see, David was born, Gussie was born there, David was born there. I can always remember, who was born there then. And Marie. Well, what I was saying, 1916, we took Cora to Nome, spent a month, came back, and 1918, then there was no school in Deering. After Replogle took it, moved it, and Papa, Mrs. Hogendorn was a teacher. Did Jack say so?
No.
She was a teacher that was in Nome when Dick, their dad, had gone to Nome several times, and he had met her down there or something, and she had a little son, Jimmy. And so when he married her and they brought her and they stayed with us. Well, then she could teach her children, say, but they lived way up there anyway. But there was Stoll and us, and then Motos and Stanley's had moved in. And there was enough, so he said, well, they had to get a school in there of some kind. So Papa got busy with the territory, and they built that little school then. That was, I don't know what it is now, but Ferguson's used it then for a storage shed for a long time. But when they first had the school, 1918, I believe, we had it in our house, and we had the choice of going through pictures to pick out our teacher. And we picked out Grace Grantham. She was in Nome, I believe, but looking for a teaching job, and we picked her then. And
What was her last name again?
Grantham,
Grantham.
Jerry and